the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on a Monday morning. We are so glad that you have joined us whenever and wherever it is that you join us each and every day here on the Auburn Blitz and making Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. I'm Brett. That's Faith. Good to see you this morning as we record this, as everybody tunes in. We'll take your comments, but a lot to dive into.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Wish it was on better terms. Auburn falls to Alabama. And, again, it was a tale of two halves. We'll talk about that. We had a pretty lengthy post-game show, about 35, 40 minutes after the game on Saturday. And I know a lot of people have watched that now and kind of, giving their take on it, whatever. But bad loss. I don't know how else to spin it. Not a very good loss. No loss is good, but this was one that you felt like, especially after the first half, Auburn was in a good position. And I'm going to dive into what I think, and I know you will too. There's just some things I don't think this team can overcome, and you're starting to see it on a regular basis. I think pretty much everybody knows what that is, and we'll talk about it. Unrealistic expectations. What are the expectations for this basketball team now as we move into the latter part of the SEC schedule? What can this team do? And then when baseball starts this week, we will time for that. You released your latest On the Front Row with Faith on Friday. I thought it was outstanding, as always. Looked like you had a really good time, and we encourage people to go out there and find that. On our YouTube page. Obviously, if you're watching it there, you can just, as soon as we're done, just go right over to videos and find the latest edition of On the Front Row with Faith. I'll give you a second to kind of talk about that again.
Yeah, Bristol Carter is who it was with. I mean, he's an outstanding guy. He's a busy boy on and off the field. He's got a lot going on, making the SEC community service team last year, starting his own foundation, CB5, having another fundraiser this year, working with Children's Hospital of Alabama. So he's got a lot of really, really cool things. Is a father of a almost 3-week-old. And so
Wow.
I can't even imagine how hard it is being a student athlete along with a father. And he's in his junior year. And if, anyone went to school here, that junior year is one of the toughest years in school. And I personally could not imagine, but he seems like he has it all together.
Junior year in high school, junior year in college. What is it about the junior year that's so rough? I remember
it's setting
that.
you up for whatever's next, apparently.
Senior year, you feel like you get there and it's like, oh, I'm out, I'm coasting. But it's always the junior year. Was your junior year in high school tough too, Faith?
Yeah, I think it's just because it's either setting you up for a really easy senior year or it's setting you up for what the rest of your life is going to be tough. So
that's scary in itself.
Yeah.
That is scary in itself.
Just talking to him though and talking about, what life has been like in these early few weeks of fatherhood, and then also the season and everything. And he transferred from a smaller school, ECU, what that's been like, the transition and everything, and what he's looking forward to this season. And so a lot to go listen to there. Super awesome.
Yeah, college is tough enough as it is. And then you add a 3-week-old in to that. Kudos to him. All I can tell you and you're playing not just going to school, you're playing a sport that's very demanding. So yeah. Go check that out. Everybody. You'll love the interview. I thought it was really, really good. Faith, thought once again, you did another phenomenal job. So go check it out.
Sophie.
Do what? Shout out Sophie. Yeah. In my absence, congrats, Sophie. We can't do it without our interns. I mean, they are so valuable for us. I know we're going to get to this, and I know somebody's going to make a comment that, man, just fast forward to the 5-minute mark, so much fluff. But, hey, you know what? Sometimes people deserve cred, okay? So we're giving cred, so just bear with us if it's worth it for you to hang in there with us for a second. All right, Auburn lost 96-92 on Saturday. Tell of two halves. Auburn was up at half. And I'll start with the last minute of the first half. Auburn had climbed up to a 10-point lead. And, you know, now that I've gone back and seen what Stephen Pearl had to say, Faith, it's exactly what you and I talked about in the postgame show. I mean, there were a couple of points that you looked at that were very crucial and important. And even though Auburn still had the lead at half, you still felt like you gave Alabama a window. You went up, you ended up having a 41-37 lead at half, but with 2:30 left, Tahad went to the free throw line and made 2 free throws to give Auburn a 10-point lead. And then in back-to-back possessions, Alabama hit those 3-pointers to cut it to 4. And it gave Alabama some motivation and some confidence going in to halftime.
Yeah, you know, Steven said that our best players have got to be better defenders. They've shown the ability to do so. If we're going to beat the best teams on our schedule, the best players have got to play better defense. So what we've talked about a little bit in the postgame show, but kind of throughout the whole season of why, you know, Simon Walker is not playing, Caden Magwood is not playing. Apparently, Caden Magwood's a little bit different than Simon Walker, but their defense is not up to Stephen Pearl's standards. And what are the standards when some of the defense has been really sloppy and inconsistent this entire season?
That's a good question. I think the standard never changes, but I just think there's some elements here for this team that are going to inhibit them from maybe reaching their full potential. And one of them is exhaustion, because you're only playing 6 guys, mainly 7 if you want to be generous. And I saw a stat this weekend that I sent to you. Auburn has scored 88 points or more, or has lost 3 games where they've scored 88 points or more. And one of the first things Stephen said in the post-game press conference is that when you score 92 points, you got to find a way to win that game. And that's what Auburn's been able to do the last several years. When Auburn scored 90 points, it was almost impossible to beat them because of the way they play defense. But you know what? I'm not throwing shade on this team. You know, I think you can look down and say, okay, maybe they're not as sharp in some areas. The switching, I got a problem with. I told you that walking out of Neville Arena, because not necessarily switching is good when you match up well. But every switch, like a good coach, opposing coach, is going, if that's the style of defense you play, they're going to create mismatches off your switches. They're going to want to force you to switch, and they're going to create the matchup they want to be able to exploit that. And Auburn got exploited multiple times in this game. And so maybe there should have been a reevaluation of strategy, and maybe you get out of that switching defense. How about fight through some damn picks and some things like that instead of switching off, because that's what Alabama wanted you to do, is they wanted those switches.
Yeah, it's like you fell right into their trap, and that's exactly what they were looking to have you do. And you would think that maybe at either a timeout or at halftime or something, you would go over how to combat that. I remember, Brett, earlier in the season, in one of the first post-game press conferences with Steven, he said the defense that we've been practicing, or like the offenses that we've been looking at and we've been trying to practice defense against them in practice and stuff, has not been the offense we've seen when we're playing some of these teams. So on the fly, our defense has had to adapt and kind of change, because they weren't ready to see the offense that they came out and played. And I'm not sure if that made sense, but I remember asking him, how did the defense adjust, and how did you expect them to kind of adjust to what they were seeing? And basically he just said, we didn't really, we just tried to do what we practiced. And throughout the season, you would think maybe they would do a better job adjusting at what they're seeing and have a little bit more communication. I do remember Murph in the second half, I want to say, was yelling, talk, because he was able to see some of the miscommunications on the defensive side. So I don't know. I just don't think they've developed anything. I guess my point, they haven't really developed too much from the beginning of the season to where they are now in adapting and changing their style of defense when they see something that they aren't ready for.
When you give up 59 points in the second half, it tells me something. It tells me, maybe you need to be a little bit sharper. But again, Auburn and Texas A&M did this to Auburn earlier in the year when Auburn was up 16, and Bucky McMillan talked about it in the post-game press conference. He said, nobody's going to outlast us. We trained for this. This is our style. We're going to bust our rear end. We're going to out physical, and we're going to out, I guess, stamina you. And that's what Texas A&M did to Auburn. And Auburn made some mistakes because they were tired. And they, again, when you're only playing 6 or 7 guys and the other team's playing 9 or 10, they've got fresher legs than you. We saw LeBaron Fallon kind of just clear the floor and break down the defense when he was driving to the basket late in the game. But when Alabama took that lead, it was because Auburn was exhausted. I'm not throwing excuses out there, but this is unrealistic. And that's kind of why I put unrealistic expectations up there. It is unrealistic to rely on 5 or 6 guys to play 40 minutes in this league, to play the intense level of defense that Stephen Pearl's requiring and expecting, and have enough in the tank to be able to do the things you got to do on the offensive side. I mean, this is a brutal league, and they're about to continue down a stretch here the next 4 or 5 games. Another one tomorrow, quick turnaround against one of the top teams in the country in Vanderbilt that's coming into your place, that's already shown they have no problem beating this Alabama team that Auburn just lost to. So there's a lot here to kind of look at when you're looking at this team from a 30,000 foot view. I mean, I don't question the effort. I know there's some things that are off a little bit, but I just don't see it being realistic to expect this team to accomplish a lot coming down the stretch when you don't have a bench. Like, you're literally playing with no bench.
Then again, my question remains the same. What happens when someone goes out with an injury?
And we thought Tahad went down there for a minute. He fell and then he got stepped on. Bediako stepped on his calf. And, we'll get into that part here in just a little bit. But I just think it boils down to, yes, I see the defensive breakdowns, but how much of that is due to fatigue, and how much of that is due to, okay, yeah, I'm giving, like, if you know anything about the game of basketball and how taxing it is when you play the style of aggressive defense and offense that Auburn plays, you're going to get worn out, man. You got to have breathers, and you got to be able to come out of the game and kind of get your legs under you again. But Auburn held Alabama to 37 points. Let's see. Was that what the final – was that the halftime score? Yeah. 41-37. They held Alabama to 37 points in the first half and gave up 59 in the second. So to me, it's pretty obvious. And so I hear Stephen Pearl and I hear what he's doing and he's challenging, but I think he's getting about the most he can get out of what he's got right now.
There's no question about it. I mean, I don't know what else you want to see from these guys that are in. And I mean, we haven't seen much production of Tahad over the last couple of games, but you can't complain about the way he performed on Saturday, even though it was only the second half that he showed up in. But
25 points, though, led all scores.
But I mean, here's the thing. Had the first half, when he wasn't there and he was non-existent and had 4 points in the first half, that's when everything Auburn kind of held it together on the defense. And again, I get the second half with the fatigue and being tired and everything, but same thing that I said on the postgame show, when he's supposed to be the leader of that group and when he finally gets it together and he finally is in his groove, you don't see too much production from some of the other guys. And to me, that still is just telling of maybe not the best leadership there.
Yeah, Auburn didn't shoot the three ball well. They made 9, but they were 9 of 28, 32%. Alabama was much better, 12 of 23 from outside, 52%. Auburn did a really good job on Alabama in the first half outside of that last minute and a half when they hit that barrage of threes to kind of give them some confidence. Then Auburn had built a double-digit lead, and they let it get away from them right there before half. LeBaron Philon ended up with 25 points, 16 of those in the second half. So 16 of LeBaron Philon's 25. And you know what? Aiden Holloway came in and had a very clutch 15 points. And then Charles Bediako was 5 of 5 from the field with 12 points. So he had a major impact in this game. And you heard Stephen Pearl say it, and I said it last week. Their ceiling is way higher with Bediako, obviously, than not. Now, is he a game-changer player? Maybe not, but he increases. He fills a void of what they needed. They needed a big man, just like Auburn. Auburn needs a big man. You know, he gave them enough. He gave them enough production in 22 minutes, and it was really the difference in the basketball game. You can say, well, Philon scoring that every night. It's kind of like Keyshawn Hall. Keyshawn Hall had 24. That's what you expect. Who's the complementary guys? Well, Allen had 17, and you had Holloway with 15. So they had enough, and then you go to Auburn, and Auburn at one point in time had 3 guys with 17 points each. Hall ended up with 24, Tahad ended up with 25, and Kevin Overton ended up with 17. Murph had 13. I mean, pretty doggone good, but when you look down at the bench, it's just not a lot of production, and that's where Alabama beat Auburn, was bench play. Everybody, the starters did their parts, but you look down, Jemison had 7, Bediako had 12, Millette had 6, and Bo Bolin had 3. So they massively outscored Auburn there. Auburn only able to generate 7 points from their bench. I mean, you're just having to rely on 5 guys. It's pretty obvious.
Steven said that they have another unbelievable opportunity Tuesday to wash this one away. This team's done a great job bouncing back after tough situations. We got to stay consistent, learn from it, and move on, because in this league, the next one comes really quick. And, you know, after having a week off and then playing in the Iron Bowl, and now you've only got 2-3 days off before playing that Vanderbilt team that, you know, it is a good team. And
yes,
again, these guys have to bounce back quick because there's not very many of them playing.
No, there's not. And so Auburn turns around on Tuesday, welcomes in Vanderbilt. We'll talk about that a little bit more here. But before we do that, we want to talk about our partners. Glenda Mitchell is our presenting sponsor, as you see on the bottom of your screen each and every day. We appreciate Glenda Mitchell and her entire law firm. Her team could not do it without her, and just brought her on board last week. We are so glad to be partnered with Glenda Mitchell's law firm. And again, we'll talk more about her later on in the program. But we also start with
Sense Green. For air that is warm and clean, call on Sense Green. They are the carrier experts in the state of Alabama, proud supporters of Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of the Auburn Blitz podcast. It is cold outside. I just almost said it's warm. It's not. It was kind of nice.
It was a little better yesterday. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but It's nowhere near that springtime I'm looking forward to. So if you want to stay warm and you want to have a reliable unit, you want to call on Green. They are going to save you hundreds of dollars. And who doesn't love saving money?
And everybody I know wants to save money. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm. They are based out of Birmingham, Alabama. And talk about a company that will save you a lot of money. You hire them for a reason. They're going to take you from the pre-construction planning phase all the way to the finished product. And if you don't have a great program management company involved in your project, you'll realize why when the project's over. When they hand you the keys and you got a lot of stuff to correct. Scout Program Management, we see their signs up all over the state, Marshall County, Lee County, Tallapoosa County, Gunnersville, wherever it is, they're working on everybody's big projects. You need to contact them for your next big project. Call on Scout Program Management. They'll get it done for you.
Bunkers in downtown Auburn, the perfect mix of sports, food, music, and fun. I saw KJ from Bunkers at the basketball game. Always great to see all of the Bunkers guys. And I mean, what better place to go than Bunkers to go and watch some of Auburn sports, or I mean, honestly, whatever it might be.
I'm sure
I love to go there during. Yeah, I love going during lunch and just, I mean, it's a great time there. They've gotten so busy, so make sure you head over to Bunkers at any time so that you can just go hang out, listen to some good music, watch some sports.
Always looking forward to our next trip to Bunkers. The Kart Source, Alabama's premier golf cart superstore, Easy Go, Cushman, Yamaha, Club Car, whatever it is that you're looking for. We will be there on Wednesday, February 18th. Come join us. And we are looking forward to it. But whatever it is that you're looking for from a golf cart, custom, all the different audio systems, tires, they will wrap it for you. They have new and used. They have multi-seat golf cart options out there for you. So check them out in Dayville, right there on Highway 280. Tell our guy Harrison that we sent you, and he'll hook you up. Tell him the Auburn Blitz sent you there, and they'll take care of you. All right, Auburn, again, and we didn't say this much on the postgame show because I didn't want it to sound like it was a bunch of excuses, but there were 4 flagrant foul calls in that game, or 4 flagrant reviews. 3 of them went against Auburn, and the other one was just said it wasn't a flagrant. Alabama got nothing. And then, it just felt like the Bediako one with Elijah was on him, or at least it was a wash. And then, of course, so every one of those calls pretty much went against Auburn. I mean, and I tweeted out there was a travel that was missed. I know there's calls. I don't want to belabor all this stuff. Didn't cost Auburn the game, but they were crucial calls, and just didn't feel like Auburn ever got the benefit of any of those calls. And, that's tough in a close basketball game. So, again, officiating inside Neville Arena hasn't been kind to Auburn. I don't know how else to spin it. Texas A&M game was not kind. This game was not kind. So, but you got to figure out a way to fight through it, unfortunately.
And, I mean, you just can't complain about that every single time. No. There are a few times that you can. This game wasn't one of those because it was.
I hate excuses. I don't even like to bring it up, but it was a part of the game. You look at it, there were 4 flagrant reviews, and 3 of them went against Auburn, and the other one was a wash. So, all right, so you flip the page. Vanderbilt comes into Neville Arena, ranked number 15. We don't know what the ranking will be today when it comes out. I don't know. Vanderbilt's 19-4. Again, Auburn is, with the ESPN matchup predictor, a 56% chance of winning. But, again, you can't really look at that. I have to look at this bench again when I'm looking at what Vanderbilt brings to the table versus what Auburn brings to the table. And, I'll be honest with you, Vanderbilt's coming off a very gut-wrenching loss to Oklahoma, 92-91, which was wild that Oklahoma was – again, we've been talking about it. Oklahoma's been right there on the cusp in about 4 or 5 games, and they haven't gone their way, and one finally went their way. But they'll flush that one, and now they'll head into this game probably a little bit mad. But, Faith, Vanderbilt is playing 11 guys 11 guys. So, and I'm telling you, like, they may not get a lot of point production out of their bench. They didn't in the Oklahoma game. Getting minutes. 3 guys had over 13 minutes. One had 21. So there's a lot more depth there for Vanderbilt than Auburn. And again, that's what I think that's kind of the mantra for teams is, hey, look, let's hold on in the first half and get this game to the second half and see if we can wear Auburn down. We'll see if that's what Vanderbilt tries to do tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, typically they're only getting about 8 guys that really have a lot of minutes, like you said. I mean,
but if they're putting 10 or 11 in and they're still in 5 or 6 here and there, that really adds up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do think that is going to be a problem when it comes to Auburn actually being able to stay as fresh,
Right.
and keep up with them energy wise. But, again, it is an advantage having it in Neville Arena because, again, this is a good team. Yeah.
Is it?
Well, I'm trying to see some sort of positive here, Brett. Help me out. But it is something to say with it being at Neville Arena. I mean, both teams coming off of a close, heartbreaking loss. Obviously, this Iron Bowl game meant a lot for Auburn, but I mean, can't dwell on it. Have to look at Vanderbilt and prepare for what they are going to throw at them.
Does it change your perspective and expectations on this Auburn basketball team now, looking at where it is with no hope in sight, it looks like, from a bench? I mean, Bashir, we saw him warming up. He's not getting in the game. Simon Walker, not. Are you – I don't know what the deal is with Caden Magwood. So
I feel like, have you noticed that I know we said this last week, but obviously he's always there hyping up his teammates and always getting up and is really celebratory for them. And, that's something that you really like to see. But he does seem like he's waiting for his name to be called in. You know what I mean? He hasn't had his warm-up shirt on while sitting on the bench. He's waiting for his name to, hey, get out there. And so I don't know. I feel like I'm having mixed signals about all of that.
I see no indication of Stephen Pearl putting him back in. I don't know what the deal is. Again, like you said, he's dressed out. I mean, we're sitting there waiting. Is this game going to be the one? Is the next game going to be the one? And so far, we haven't seen it in a game where you felt like, man, maybe could you have had a few minutes stolen? Yeah, that one would have been a big one. But for him not to get any time in that game Saturday really tells me he may not be close at all to getting back, or maybe he set a certain amount of games for him no matter what. He said, look, you're suspended internally for this many games, and then when that's over and we feel like everything's back to kosher, then you can start getting back into rotation. I don't know. We haven't been told any of that, so that's all speculation on my part. So I just know that this team, if it wants to try to make the tournament, and they've got to win some of these games coming down the stretch to get to 10 wins in conference play, they're gonna have to find a couple guys to come off that bench, and in addition to Freeman and Jovic, and or Freeman and Jovic's minutes are going to have to go up.
Yeah,
that's another thing. I mean, we haven't seen Jovic's minutes really anywhere close to where we thought they were going to be after the South Carolina game.
yeah,
They've dropped tremendously. So one of the two, either add a couple more players in the mix, Bashir and Magwood, Simon Walker, or Freeman and Jovic going to have to pick up a little bit more of the load.
yeah. I don't really know what to expect going into this game on Tuesday, to be honest with you.
I don't either. We'll be there for it, so we'll see how it works out. And again, that game tips at 6 o'clock. At least it's not 8 or 9. So
Amen to that.
we'll take that one for sure. All right, let's shift over, talk about some baseball. Auburn baseball starts up this coming up weekend, Friday, February 13th, opening weekend at Plainsman Park. Youngstown State comes to Auburn for a 3-game set, Friday through Sunday. It will be Valentine's weekend for all of you out there that celebrate. So why not go out to Plainsman Park one night and celebrate the weekend with the Auburn baseball team as they get started, a preseason ranked number 5 Auburn baseball team, Faith. And again, this is a roster that may be one of the best that Butch Thompson's put together.
Yeah, last year with a bunch of young guys on the team, obviously going and hosting a super regional for the first time in Auburn history. And this year, a lot of those guys back after, again, having it just be a super young team last year. Really excited to see how far they can make it this year. I mean, obviously just opening weekend this weekend, but really excited to see what they have to offer.
Very much so. Very, very much so. I mean, when you look down this staff in pitching, Auburn added, Jake Marciano from Virginia Tech, Andres Alvarez and Christian Chatterton and Petrovic. And this is a very deep pitching staff. And Coach Thompson talked about it, saying, they're as healthy, as they've been in a long time going into the season. And if you remember, Auburn seems like they always have some type of guy, key person that is banged up or, battling some issues, and he has to battle them through the season. But, I can go down this roster, and Chris Rembert's where I start. I mean, he is a preseason All-American, gonna be drafted high. I think he batted, I don't have his numbers directly in front of me, I think it was 344 last year. Just a tremendous season. Bub Terrell, got Chase Fralick coming back, had a tremendous freshman season last year. I can keep going down the list of these guys, and we'll dive into it more as we get toward the start of the season. But, just a lot of pieces on this team, but a lot of guys that are coming back that were major contributors. You got Cade Ballou coming back, and I can keep going down the list. But I think this top to bottom, when you look at the pitching staff and the position players, this is going to be a very, very competitive team every single week. Now, here's the problem. You're number 5 in the country, and you're picked 5th in the SEC. That tells you how tough this league is. LSU's predicted to win the league. Mississippi State, Texas, Arkansas, like the first 9 or 10 teams in this league are just ridiculous. And so you got to play great baseball every single weekend in this league. Now, again, when you look at the schedule, you open up with Youngstown State, and then you have on Tuesday you have Cincinnati coming in, and then you head out to Arlington, Texas. And Auburn had a really good trip last year to this. I think they won all of their games last year out there against some really good opponents, but they'll start with Kansas State on Friday the 20th, and then play Florida State on Saturday, and then wrap up with Louisville on Sunday. And, I mean, so all 3 teams, very, very good programs. So going to challenge yourself, going to see what you're made of against some top competition, and then you'll roll back to Plainsman Park on Wednesday, the 25th, for West Georgia. Again, get started with Youngstown State. Looking forward to it. Think it's going to be a fun team to watch if everybody can stay healthy.
Yeah, it is. And, just starting with some of these teams to prepare yourself for SEC play, because that is going to be no joke.
No joke at all. Just to kind of fast forward and look at the series for Auburn and SEC play, because you don't play everybody. You do get Missouri at Missouri to start SEC play, which is great because Missouri is picked last. So you get Missouri on. So don't go up there and start 1-2. At least go up there with the expectation of winning that series. Would love to start off with a sweep. And Auburn's used to playing Georgia Tech in midweek games the last several years, and they'll have Georgia Tech following that series. Then you head out to Texas. So actually, Texas comes to Auburn, rather. So Texas comes to Auburn. That is alumni weekend. So you'll have a 3-game set with Texas, and we know you don't have to – Texas in baseball, you don't have to say anything else. Then you travel to Alabama. Then you have Arkansas coming in. Then we actually have Kentucky coming in back-to-back series. And then travel to Florida, another brutal road trip there. Oklahoma, very tough program, coming to Plainsman Park. And then travel out to Texas A&M, and then travel out to Mississippi State. And then I think this will be the Georgia series will be at home, and that will wrap up the SEC slate for Auburn. So that's the series. Georgia, you got some really, really tough series at home and on the road this year, but that's no different than any other year. But you got Arkansas, A&M, Texas. Of course, you got Alabama. You got to go to Florida. You got Georgia at home. It's brutal. It's brutal.
Couldn't line it up any better than starting with Missouri. Isn't that right?
I was going to say, if you want to get off to a great start, there it is.
Build your foundation there.
Yeah, get off. And if you could somehow go to Missouri and get a sweep, would be phenomenal. So there's that. But we're excited. Baseball. Hey, and look, softball had a good weekend this weekend. Got some big wins. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Jackson Coyven had a great tournament. We'll talk about that later on as well. Just a lot to sandwich in. We don't want to. We'll spread that out over the week. We got plenty to talk about. But again, we got a basketball game tomorrow in Neville Arena. So you know what, Faith? Chance to flush that Alabama game and get a win against Vanderbilt. Really, Auburn put that 4-game winning streak together, but they've got some really tough games here. You don't want to go on a 4-game losing streak.
No, that would not line up very well. I mean, the rest of this season is going to be tough.
Very, very tough. All right. We want to thank Glenda Mitchell and her law firm. We couldn't do the program without her. If you're hurt in a car accident, they will come to you. Every client gets Glenda's personal cell phone. How about that? So if you are in a car accident, she is going to fight for you, going to fight the insurance company to make sure you get everything that you need, or if you're hospital bill, everything that goes along with it. We hope and pray none of you ever get in a car accident. I know Glenda does the same, but it's good to know that you got somebody out there like Glenda Mitchell that will fight for you if you have that, or somebody in your family has that wreck that could be life-changing. So make sure you do that. But we're so glad to be partnered with her, and we're so glad to be partnered with a lot of these other partners we've always had. Oliver Ross.
For all of your bartending needs, whether it's 20 or 20,000 people, Oliver Ross is going to be the bartending service for you. They are professional licensed bartenders who will make sure you and your guest are able to focus on whatever it is, and you don't have to multitask while bartending, while trying to host, whatever it might be. Oliver Ross is the bartending service for you. Go check out their social medias. They have so many great videos and posts that, I mean, you're just going to want to hire them for whatever event you have next.
There's no question about it. Russell Medical Center, one of the top 3 hospitals in the state of Alabama, and again, partner with UAB Health. If you need medical care, you need good doctors, you need great facilities, and you don't want the hassle of a big city, you need to call on Russell Medical Center. They're in Alexander City right there on Highway 280. We'll be there on Wednesday on location. We'll have Jackie Pearl with us, Faith. So we're looking forward to having Jackie Pearl to talk about Outlive and all the great things that are going on. So looking forward to having Jackie with us there on Wednesday. And also Alex City Marine for boat rentals, sales, service, and storage. They've got it all. 256-215-3474, center consoles, pontoons, the whole 9 yards, whatever it is that you're looking for out there, they've got it. They're going to have a boat show coming up very soon. And so now's the time to go out and get a great price on a boat. And they've got your dream boat out there, I promise you. So go check them out right there on Highway 280. Again, all of our partners, it seems like, are very accessible right there on Highway 280. Hey, before we get off, shout out to Derek Hall with the Seattle Seahawks. Like, really had a night in the Super Bowl. 2 tackles, had 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and really that was the crucial part because it was 12-0, and it led to a Seattle touchdown that put them up 19-0. Since then, Seattle went on to score 29 points and win the Super Bowl. So congratulations to Derek Hall. What a tremendous performance by him on the largest stage in football. And Auburn had several other players in the game as well. But Derek Hall really shined and really contributed to a defense that really just smothered New England for the better part of over 3 quarters. And, New England was able to score some points there late in the game, but it was really kind of insignificant at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he obviously had a great matchup against the rookie Will Campbell on the New England side of the ball. And he was really just able to, his speed, get around him, and his strength. I mean, he was able to just throw him right off of him and get right up there to Drake May. And Derek Hall has always been a beast at Auburn and everything. And, he's just obviously gotten better and better throughout the years, but really excited for him after that big win.
Absolutely. So again, congratulations to Derek Hall, and man, what a great performance there in the Super Bowl. All right, Faith, we'll be heading out today for our On the Road show. Looking forward to it, and we got a lot more stuff coming up this week, as we always do. And we appreciate everybody out there that has subscribed to our YouTube channel. All of you that view us on Facebook, and everybody that comes up to us had several come up to us at the game on Saturday and just speak and say how much they enjoy watching our shows. And that really, look, we appreciate that. We really want to hear from you. And if we ever look like we're too busy, we're not. We'll never be too busy for any of you out there to come up and speak. And we really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Faith, I'll let you send us out here on this Monday.
Hope everyone has the best week ever.
Absolutely. Be good to people. Say something positive out there. Be a shining light for somebody. You never know when somebody needs that positive reinforcement out there. And we will see you in the morning for more Auburn Blitz.